All right. You know what my problem is? Whoa. Is my problem that I haven't been filming is because I don't do it. It sounds simple, but I come in here in the morning and then I start going, what do I need to do to get working? What do I need to do to get billing? So I've been doing that. And then what happens is I start going, well, I'm excited to film something. I've got an idea, but I'm going to start doing it kind of after everybody leaves. And so I'll start working on something else, and then people show up. Well, Emily will show up and start working, and then have questions and start going into stuff. Don't eat my hat, you little jerk. My dog's eating my hat. And then I won't actually get moving. So then nighttime will happen. I'll have to go home and get the kids, or I'll get stuck here late. And then after working all day, I just kind of get, slogged out. So I'm gonna try and fix that today by coming in here. I just walk the dogs, and then I'm gonna tell you about this guy. So, here's the story. Well, let's just set you down over here and see what we can see. So here's the story. I found this exact wrench in my dad's calf shed. It would have been like 2005, maybe 2004, something like that. But after college, I got in this habit of going out when I was home for whatever, coming home in the summer, or come home just to visit my folks and whatever. I would go out, and we worked on these old cars. So we worked on old Volkswagens. Me and my buddy Frankie worked out at my buddy Adam's shop, and we were restoring these old Volkswagen hot rod things and Beetles and buses, and I was a little bit obsessed with Volkswagens when I was a kid, for those of you that know me. So we'd go out there, and then there'd inevitably be these times where I'm out at my dad's farm and just like kind of start snooping around for junk. I'd start digging for junk. But the calf shed where my dad had a dairy farm forever, and there was like 3 different age groups of calves in various old outbuildings at the farm. And so the middle group of calves were in this old shed where back in the day in the farm in the early 1900s was kind of a workshop. So there was like detritus from an old workshop. There was some wood cubby holes to stuff, a lot of like raccoon carcasses and stuff like that. But anyway, I used to start going, I guess it's a problem of filming in the morning, that all the trains are going by, even though nobody's in them, I hope, except for essential workers. Anyway, so I got in the habit of kind of going around and digging up old junk and finding like super rusty old pieces of metal, and just I found this wrench on the edge of this calf shed where there used to be a workshop, and I picked it up, and it was super rusty and full of gunk. And I used to take these old rusty things and I'd wire brush them with like a wire wheel on an angle grinder and clean them up. And there was something about this wrench in particular that really struck a chord with me, and I think it was kind of a combination of the corrosion and patina on it, but also the shape. There was this shape and something that I really responded to about like, man, you don't see tools that have this kind of like sculpting to it like you used to. And since I was obsessed with working on old Volkswagens, I was like, man, wouldn't it be cool if I made a set of wrenches that was similar to this, but was like a metric set? Because a lot of all these old implement wrenches, old tractor wrenches and stuff that you'd find in old Fords and Jeeps and stuff, they were imperial for the most part. So I was thinking that it'd be cool to make a set of these. And the original idea was like, because I was just out of college and I was obsessed with materials and titanium, and with titanium was space age. But the original idea was to go, I'm gonna make a set out of these old wrenches, but I'm gonna make them metric, and I'm gonna put my own flair to them, and I'm gonna make them out of titanium, and they're gonna be amazing. So, fast forward, I don't know, 6-8 years now. It's been a long time. This has been floating around. But in the interim, I got some CNC machines and I started learning more about how to make something. But let me start back from chronologically here. So there were, I have all this junk. So I had this old model maker at a place I used to work. And he was kind enough, well, so I guess start at the beginning. I took these wrenches and I modeled them in SolidWorks, right? And then this old model maker was kind enough to machine a set of these for me. I think these were out of acrylic or polycarbonate after they were machined. And there was something about holding it, and I added these lightning holes to them, kind of following with the shape of the well that was there. So I made those, and then they kind of sat, and I thought they were amazing, and I was going to get them made or whatever. And then years later, I was up in Milwaukee visiting Frankie, and we cut this set of wrenches out of Corian, I think, old countertop material. And I think in the interim, I had modeled a set, like a full set of combination wrenches of these, not like a double box set, but did that, and then sat for 100 more years. And then after we made these Corian set, then I started machining my own. So also while I was machining my own, where was some of the first ones? I feel like there was a junky one that Frankie also machined. We machined all steel. Yeah. Yeah. So, oh, come on, focus. Yeah, so this, like, you know, it was the first, he was learning on his Tormach, and this was kind of our first one we machined out of steel, but I thought this was the most amazing thing at the time. Still is cool, but then eventually I started making my own. So I started machining these and started with one size, and here's where we are now. I have made a set. These are all metric set, and I made some fixtures. So here's up one fixture. You could see, like, I don't have any. I would take a blank sheet of stainless and I'd put it on here, and then machine the outside profile, something like so, and then I made a fixture afterwards, so I machined just the inner portion of this, and then I made a fixture that sat down on that, so I would unbolt the bolts that held this guy down, and I'd put this fixture down, and then I'd machine all the outside pieces after they were held down on the middle, and face that off and kind of finish off the box end partway. And then after that was done, now you would have this wrench that's like kind of blank on one side and machined on the other. And then I made this two fixture. So now, very similarly, some bolts would go in each of these outer holes. And then after that, we would machine all the inside. And then after all the inside was machined, take the bolts out of the ends, and then put a second op 2 fixture down on that, and then finish out the ends. And then we were left with something that was pretty close. So after I made this first full set, I was pretty happy with some of the machining marks in here and stuff, and how I could inscribe the size in there. But some of the early ones didn't have a good finish on the box, and I still need to make some adjustments to how sharp this is. But I was pretty happy with it, and I still am. They're so nice to hold. They're such like a cool object. So what's next? Well, I took some of these wrenches and come on, and then I sent them off to heat treat. So these got heat treated. I ended up making this set not out of titanium, but out of 17-4 stainless steel. One, because I could machine it a little easier than titanium. I had a little bit of experience with it, and I also knew that 17-4 has good corrosion resistance and doesn't warp a lot when you heat treat it. So I know, I mean, in general, I know that machining a set of wrenches is kind of stupid. Like, I get it, right? Like, you're never going to be able to make a wrench as quickly or like as cost effectively or as a forging, nor will you ever be able to make a wrench that's as strong as a forging, because you're essentially cutting into the grain structure of the metal instead of forming the grain structure into the shape, which is inherently going to make a forging stronger. But what I wanted to do was get some of these heat treated and just try and see. I'm going to make a little fixture and see if I can break them, and buy a couple other common size wrenches that are similar in size and break those as well, and just see how I stand. If I'm way less strong, just as strong, a little bit less strong, I'd be pretty happy if I didn't like exceed what a common Snap-on or Craftsman or Wear wrench would be, but just like be in the ballpark. That'd make me pretty happy. And then what else would I need to do? Then I need to make a leather tool roll, and I need to make an open-end set of these that was also imperial and not metric. So that's kind of what done looks like for me. And then in the interim, I've found out a lot about these wrenches. It turned out that original wrench was made by a company called, these were controlled steel wrenches made by JP Danielson, and I'll link some of the info on Alloy Artifact on there. And I became a little bit obsessed. So if I can get these done, I'm gonna try and film what the steps are and show you what I'm doing. And then kind of the coup de grace for me would be to make my own adjustable wrench. Because say if I did a Kickstarter or something and sold some wrenches, these are gonna be expensive. They're gonna be like, I don't know, $400 or $500 for a set of wrenches, which would appeal to some people. I mean, man, there's something about them that I just love. But you know, $500 set of wrenches is not for everybody. I get it, especially in these times. But now that I started this project, I just, I need to see it through. I need to finalize it and get all the way to done. And I've done so much work on it, and I just haven't finished, because then billing work would get in the way and then I'd stop. So anyway, I'll see if I can dig up a picture of where this wrench came from, because I think I have it somewhere, and show some of the other things. But like, that's what kind of inspired me. And now that we have some of these machines here, it'd be cool to work on some better fixturing eventually, maybe make it on a 0-point release plate, and get some stuff going. So where I left it off was that I made a few of these sets, but when it got down to the smaller sizes, when I modeled them, I had just kind of, I don't know how to focus you. There we go. I had modeled the bigger sizes, started out with the largest size, the 3/4 or the 19 millimeter, and then kind of scaled it down proportionally. And what happened was, when they got down into this 10, 11 millimeter size, they just got like too thin for what they needed to be. So I needed to scale them down, but it turns out like not only the length and the thickness, it just doesn't scale proportionally to the size of wrench it does. It needs to have, you know, it needs to still have a certain thickness to it. So next steps are going to be, I think I remodeled, well, the next steps are going to be relook at where I'm at, because I haven't looked at this for a long time, so I don't know. But the next steps are going to be remake this Op2 fixture with the thicker wrenches, and then double check the heat treat wrenches and make some kind of fixture that I can crush in a hydraulic press, and just confirm how strong they are, and then set up and make a few sets and then go from there. So anyway, that's the story on that project. I also have another project, another like house goods collaboration project I think we're gonna start working on with Frankie in earnest. So I gotta check with him, but hopefully we'll be able to show that process as well, because I think that'll be really fun to follow along. And yeah, thanks for watching. Try to get back here on a regular basis, and you know, keep recording with every day that is the same day over and over and over again, and keep working my ass off, assuming that everything will explode tomorrow. I don't know, but hope you're well. Talk to you soon. Bye.